A wild kitty appeared, and today for you, I am bringing you my Doctor Who Series 11 Episode 1 review. So as always guys, spoilers. Okay, so basically first I'm going to talk about how I felt about Jodie in the episode. So I have to say, Jodie Whittaker, you are, as your first episode debut, you did a really, really good job. I absolutely loved your performance in the first episode. You did really well and you are showing a lot of promise as well. I was definitely getting some like David Tennant vibes from, back when he was the Doctor. And I could probably see why, since I know obviously Jodie Whittaker and David Tennant worked on the same show together, so maybe it makes sense that maybe she went for tips and stuff to him, but she also did have her own spin on it, which again, yes, Jodie, you did. So far, I am loving the new Doctor. She has definitely got some great potential. But I don't want to talk too much about the Doctor. I'm going to wait until like the last episode of the series, then I'm going to give like a full talk about how I felt about how Jodie is, because again, this is just our first episode, so obviously we have to see how she's like when it comes to that. So far Jodie, you're in my good books. So yes. Okay, so basically I have talked about the Doctor and now I'm going to talk about the other three companions and what my feelings are towards them. And the first person that I want to talk about is Ryan Sinclair. I have to say that I have a special place in my heart for Ryan, and I may be a little biased when it comes to Ryan, but that is because both me and Ryan share something very similar. We both have dyspraxia. Now, I haven't really talked about my dyspraxia on my channel before because I never felt like I needed to. It was never brought up, and I know not everybody obviously knows what dyspraxia is. It's basically for people who were watching the episode and wasn't really clear to them what dyspraxia is. It is basically, it affects your fine motor skills. You're basically, my balance is horrible. Yeah, just awful, and I relate a lot, especially in that scene where Ryan is trying to ride a bike and failing completely miserably, because even though Ryan is 19 years old and still can't ride a bike, I'm 23 and I still can't ride a bike. It's absolutely fine. So yeah, there's also that. Yeah, so basically dyspraxia also does have a lot more things that affects people who have it, but obviously I'm not going to explain everything, just in case you'd rather just want to hear my thoughts on stuff instead of me just explaining what dyspraxia is. So just in case you are interested and want to learn more about dyspraxia, I will link a article in the description so that you can read up on it and kind of understand what it's about. But if you do have any questions about dyspraxia, don't be afraid to ask me something in the comments. I'd happily answer it. Anyways, yes. So basically, I love how they handled Ryan's character. I was so happy, especially with the wee nods to what it's like to basically have dyspraxia. The way of how frustrated he got with himself, also being really careful, especially when he was going down the hill after he threw his bike down the hill, how he was walking down the bit of the hill, he was being extra careful. And then obviously that scene where he had to climb the ladder, he was going slower than everyone else because, again, it makes sense. So again, I am really happy about how they obviously handled his character, and I also like the fact that dyspraxia wasn't his defining character trait either. I like the fact that there's a bit more to him. He is incredibly intelligent. I mean, he was able to basically use social media to figure out where they needed to go next, and basically, yeah, he is a very intelligent guy, and I'm really happy about that, because a lot with people with dyspraxia or even dyslexia, usually a lot of times people like to assume that we are just told this because we're actually really stupid, but we're not, and I'm really glad they also showed that too. I will also say one thing that I absolutely love that they did was basically after obviously Ryan's nan died, and stuff, and obviously he was talking on his YouTube channel about, you know, trying again to ride a bike. I also, like, one of the things I was worried about as soon as I saw him get back on the bike, that they were going to have him magically know how to ride a bike. That's not how dyspraxia works. I would have been so peeved if he, like, was able to ride that bike. Like, I would have been so peeved. But again, I'm glad that they still showed that he was struggling, and I could feel for him. He was really, like, I can understand why he wanted to try and, you know, ride the bikes to make his nan proud. Like, I completely get that. But again, I'm glad that they showed that he wasn't just automatically doing it well. So yes, thank you, Doctor Who. Thank you so much for basically highlighting dyspraxia, because this is probably the first time I've ever seen dyspraxia, like, in any form of media, or especially maybe mainstream media. Again, I've never heard of any characters who've had dyspraxia in the past. If you maybe know some characters, like, let me know, but I haven't really came across any. And honestly, again, for something as mainstream as Doctor Who to highlight dyspraxia, it makes me so happy. You have no idea, like, the fact that I can watch this and be like, yes, I relate. Obviously this will help bring awareness to what dyspraxia is, because I've had a lot of frustrations trying to explain it to people, either people thinking I've made it up or I'm saying dyslexia wrong and stuff like that. So yeah, I am really happy that they're representing it, and so far they are doing it really, really well. So thank you so much, Doctor Who. Writers, I'm not too sure what the new head writer is. I know it's Chris something, so obviously I will put the name fully down here, but I want to thank you so much for giving a spotlight to dyspraxia. And hey, it is Dyspraxia Awareness Week, so hey, they timed it right, because October 7th is the first day of dyspraxia awareness. It's like they planned it or something. But yeah, again, I just want to thank you guys so much, because representation for something like that is amazing. Just mainly because dyspraxia is very common, but it doesn't get talked about a lot. And again, sorry, thank you so much. The only worry I have when it comes to later down in the season is basically, magically Ryan has forgotten he has dyspraxia, and it only comes up when it's story relevant. That's my only, like, worry about it. Again, I'm not exactly expecting them to basically mention he has dyspraxia in every episode. No, they don't need to do that. Again, how he is as a character, like especially how he is in the obviously first bit of the episode, well, obviously what he's like in the first episode. As long as they keep it sort of like that, like just showing hints, like him being awfully careful, and just all other types of, you know, dyspraxia stuff that could just be wee hints that yes, he still has it. They haven't magically made it disappear until only it's story relevant. That is my only worry, but so far, Ryan, you get a thumbs up from me. Okay, anyways, on for the next person. Okay, so the next person I want to talk about is Yasmin. So far, I felt like she didn't get much of a spotlight, but I can definitely see where her character is going, especially being a policewoman who wants to help out more, but she's obviously not getting the chance to do that. But now, of course, she's now helping out the Doctor. I feel like this would really help her out, especially because of what kind of path she wants to go down, so I could definitely see something like that. Also, I loved the sort of how Yasmin and Ryan knew each other back when they were in primary school. I like that. And also, another thing that I will say about Yasmin's character is I am so glad that, especially that scene where they're about to go up the ladder, like Yasmin turned around to Ryan and said, "Are you going to be okay?" But in the way she did it was she wasn't trying to belittle him or basically treat him like a baby, which Oh boy, have I gotten that a lot with a lot of stuff people like to say. So I'm glad that Yasmin was really good with that. And yeah, I can definitely see a really good friendship there. I don't know if they're trying to do more with them, but obviously we'll see when the series progresses. So yeah, I don't really have much to say about Yasmin, mainly because I felt like there wasn't much of her in that first episode. But so far, I'm liking Yasmin. So yeah. Okay, so the last companion I'm going to talk about is Graham. He's basically Ryan's step-grandpa, and yeah, he's definitely an interesting character. I will give them that. You can definitely see, obviously, Ryan's frustrations with him, and some of the, obviously, that line he said kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but I can kind of get where they were coming from, because obviously that is usually, as a lot of the times a lot of people say to people with dyspraxia, especially as like the whole line with him saying, oh, is this another thing we can blame the dyspraxia on, which I have gotten multiple times. So I understand why obviously they had a character like Graham to say it, because obviously he doesn't understand what it is, he doesn't think it's that much of a big deal, etc, etc. So far I can definitely see Graham becoming a good character. Obviously, you know, they'll probably have chances for him and Ryan to obviously bond, and maybe, you know, you'll actually get to see him as a grandpa instead of just being like your Graham. So I can definitely see probably the growth between them. But yeah, so far, Graham I'm so about when it comes to him. But anyways, yes, so that's how. So yes, that was my thoughts on Graham. Okay, so yes, that is my thoughts on the new companions. As you can tell, obviously I kind of do favor Ryan quite a bit. But again, maybe biased, just a tad. But again, like, I don't care. They handled dyspraxia so well, and I'm so glad. So yes, of course, I'm going to attach myself to Ryan because I love it so much of how they did it. But yes, so that's my thoughts on the new companions. So yes, the episode as a whole, I really like this episode. It's definitely a good episode to begin with, especially with the new series. I absolutely loved it. The villain was interesting. Very much of a villain you'd expect for, you know, the first monster to see. I will say that weird teeth thing that, you know, he takes a tooth out of like his victims as trophies and wears it on his face. You know, most hunters usually wear them as necklaces, but okay. But yeah, so he wasn't like nothing, like he was nothing special, but you know, for a first villain, he did alright. I think it's like Tim Shaw, I think that was the name the doctor was giving him. So yeah. And one of the things I do want to say is I loved Ryan's Nan. Grace, she was amazing. I was so annoyed that they killed her off. Like, why did we have to do that? But, like, I was like, you know, she didn't have to be a companion. She could just been of someone they would come back to now and again. But I'm guessing something had to obviously happen. So I was sad, obviously, that they killed her off. But she was still a good Nan. She was very supportive of Ryan. But yes, she was a really great character. It's such a shame that obviously she died early on, but I guess they wanted something tragic, and also Graham's speech at the end of the funeral was really sweet, and yeah, you could definitely sense that, you know, he definitely loved her. So yeah, it was, again, Grace, you will be missed. Okay, so overall, I really liked this episode. It had a really good feel to it. I really love the characters. So I'm going to give this episode an A because, yes, I love this. Good, like, amazing season starter. Definitely better than last season starter. Definitely, to say the least. So yes, obviously I'm not going to review every episode that comes out because I obviously don't want my channel to just be Doctor Who for the entire time that the show is on, because I know not everybody subscribes to me for that, and I'm completely fine with that. I know there's a lot of people who subscribe for me for other things, which I completely understand. But again, if you want to know what my thoughts are on other episodes, most likely I will tweet about them, so you could just follow me on Twitter if you really want to know my thoughts on the other episodes. But yeah, I will come back later on when it's the last episode of the season, just so that I can be like, right, I have my solid feelings on how I feel about Jodie. Also, I'll have more feelings about the companions, and obviously probably talk more about how they handled Ryan's dyspraxia as well, like if they kept it the way, like as long as obviously, you know, as I stated before, as long as they don't forget that he has it and then only brings it back when it's story relevant. So yes, obviously yes, I will talk about that when the last episode airs. So yeah, anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to like and subscribe for more fandom content than you can shake a stick at. And see ya!